Okay, so we've talked about the hosting control panel, and I gave a demonstration of how to install WordPress using the cPanel system through HawkHost. Now, once you have WordPress installed through whatever hosting provider you have, there are a number of controls that you need to become familiar with. These are controls that are part of the WordPress admin. So when I talk about WordPress admin, I'm talking about the backside of the website that is not public, that gives you control over the different functions of the website. And so when you have a WordPress website that you own, you're going to have an admin account, and it will give you access to these types of things, typically speaking. So you'll have access to the main dashboard page, and so that's the default screen that you normally will see when you log in. You will have access to a part of it called posts, and this is where you would put content on your website for, say, news updates or newsletters or blog posts. Say you want to write articles on different topics that are related to whatever your website is about. You could organize those all from that section. Media, this is where all your image files are going to go, where your logo goes. So when you upload files, it goes into this media section of the website. So it can have PDFs in there, it can have videos, different types of files that you want to put on your website. Those will appear in there. Then you have the pages part. This is where you're going to actually create and edit and manage the main pages of your website. So by main pages, I'm talking about pages like home page, about page, contact, services, whatever else you want your website to actually have. That's where those things go. You're also going to deal with something called plugins. Plugins are what add extra features and functionality to your website. So, for example, if you want some sort of special slider that does something fancy that isn't available in the default installation tools and stuff, those types of things would be in there. Maybe a calendar, like an event calendar, or a directory system, or estimate forms, or different types of things. There's all kinds of different options for plugins that can give you different things. You'll even find an online store called WooCommerce in there. And so you can have those types of things added simply with what's called plugins. Then you have appearance. This is typically where you're going to be able to manage and customize the look of your website. And so you can add a menu normally and control different things that appear in the sidebar on like the blog posts and stuff like that. When you first install it, and if you don't have any other themes installed, the default WordPress themes do not have a lot of options to customize things, so that's where you'd end up installing one of the other themes. And there's lots of free ones that you can install on your website that you can choose from, and I'll show you that. And then it will unlock a lot of those settings and stuff. And then the final thing that you're really going to need to mess with is something called settings. That is where you can set like the time zone. You can enable or disable certain functions, so such as the comments, allowing people to register on your website to get an account, and different settings that are relevant that control how your website functions. Okay, so enough talking. I'm going to show you what I am talking about now. Alright, welcome to the WordPress dashboard. This is what you're going to see when you typically log in to your admin account. You will have a top bar that runs along the top no matter where you explore on the website. You will have, a little profile up here. Go back. You'll have controls on the left that give you access to the things I was just covering, and you'll typically see some little widget things here. So the main thing that you're going to be paying attention to when you log in is usually your pages, your posts. You have appearance, plugins, settings, and up here you can get back and forth from your website easily and back to the dashboard by up here. So those are the main things that you're going to be clicking on the most likely. And so we can take a look at the website by just clicking on this thing. It's got the name of the website. In this case, it's an example, so it says Wanderlust or whatever. So if you click on that, this is what it shows us. You can see we still have the bar all along the top here. And we can scroll down and we can see what's currently on the site. Okay, not too interesting, but we can get back to the WordPress admin by going to the dashboard or just clicking on this. And now we're back. And so from here, we can go into posts, and I'll show you something about the posts now. So how they work. So as you can see, this is the default post. If we click on it, we're going to see this is a post editor. So it's going to have very basic controls. And so it's meant for blogs. So this is like where you would put articles or news updates or whatever you're going to post for fresh content on your website. So if you have something to share, you know, you would end up putting it on here where you have, you know, regular updates, and you can have different categories of content and different settings like that. Over on the right, you can see we can set a featured image. If we just click on this button, it's going to open up our media library. We don't have anything in our library right now. I can try to find something to drag and drop in there. Just a minute. Let me see. I might have something I can throw in real quick from somewhere. I'm just going to drag it off there for a minute. Get it out of the way. And I will grab some images that we can play with just for this example. Alright, here's a bird, a horse, and another horse, car, and I'll choose a city picture or something here. Something random. I don't even know what it looks like. Alright, so now we can have some images to choose from that we can set as a featured image and insert into a post and stuff. So to give you kind of an idea of how it works, let's just choose this budgie. If we set it as a featured image, it can affect, you know, what displays on the website and in the default theme. So if we try to add some more content, we can just type in here. So what we're going to try and do is just create an example post, is what I'm trying to demonstrate here. You can see that there's different options here as well. We have an option for discussion, and we can close it. That will prevent people from leaving comments. And we can disable pingbacks and trackbacks and stuff. We can make the post sticky. That means it will appear before any other posts. We can add it to different categories. So currently there's uncategorized category, but we can add one. Let's just say budgies, just for this example, due to the picture. And we can set a parent category if we want. We can also set tags. Tags are good for SEO purposes. You know, there, budgies, there. Just so there's an example, you can see the link says hello world, and then if we click save, it gives us an option. We can view the post if we click it fast enough, and you can see the image that I set as a featured image is by default showing here. So it shows at the top above the post, and if I click on up here. If I click on this edit post, we can get back to the editor as well. So this is how you would add and edit your posts. So if you just, you know, press enter, it'll say type or choose a new block. So if you click on this plus sign, you get some options. If you click on all, you can see even more options for different things that you can put on there. You can use a separator, and you can stack things. You can add buttons. You can group things. You can add social media icons if you want. There's an option for short codes. Short codes have to do with plugins, and I can talk more about that later. You can add in just all kinds of different little things. This is using the default WordPress editor. So say we want to add a heading, we can click and drag, and we can type, you know, something there. If we press enter, it'll go to the next line, like this. And then we can, you know, type in some more stuff. Say we want to add an image, we can do that too. So from the blocks, we can either just click this, or we can click on the browse all, and we can just find image and click on it. And now you can see we have an option to upload a new image. We can click on media library, or we can insert from a URL. If we click on the media library, now we can see that we have some more images here to choose from. Let's choose a horse, totally unrelated, and we can just click on select. And now you can see that the horse image has appeared in the post content. If we just click away from it, it will deselect whatever, you know, we might be currently selecting. You'll notice there are some basic formatting options. So if we select this text and we want like italics or bold, we can do that from there. We can also add in links. So say, you know, add a link, and then we want to, you know, highlight specific text to be a link. We just select it, click on that, and then we can, you know, select whatever page we want it to link to, and it's just as easy as that. There are some additional options here. You don't have to really worry about that unless you want to use those. But this is just the default WordPress content controls here. Once we're done editing our post, we can click save, and then we can click on the little link to view it, and you can see there's the image, and you can see our tags appear as well at the bottom, and it has a section for comments, but since I disabled the comments, there's no option to add any more. Now, a reason why you would want to disable comments is because spam and scammers often like to use comments as a way to try to get your website to promote theirs, and often it's inappropriate bad websites that they will try to insert links to. So it's typically good to just disable them completely, then you don't have to worry about trying to monitor them and approve them and stuff, because you will get a lot of them on your posts. Now, back to the dashboard. If we go back into posts and look at all our posts, we can see that we just have that one. We can also create a new post. We just simply create the, you know, create it by pressing the button that says add new post, and we can add a new title. Okay, and just like before, we can add a feature image, we can add some more content, you know. And if we go in and click on this plus sign, say we want to add a video, we can do that too. We can add a YouTube video, and then we would simply, you know, enter the URL that you want to embed, and then you'd simply, you know, just stick it in there. So it's pretty easy and straightforward with that. You get a lot of different options just with the default installation to add different types of content. You can also add columns too if you want. You can change the size of them, and you can add buttons and groups of things. You can group the blocks so that they're together. And you just, like I said, you've got a lot of options. You also have this custom HTML, so if you have to paste in something that you have from a website, say a widget or a calendar or something, and they have some special code that you want to put in, or an email subscription form. So say you have an email, say you have a MailChimp form or another email marketing platform, you can add in their email subscription code into the little custom, you know, HTML box, and just paste in whatever it is that they give you. And then it will insert that email subscription form into the page. So it's pretty straightforward with this. I'm just going to go ahead and save it just for an example. And then if we look at it, it's probably not going to show anything because I didn't set up anything for those settings. But anyway, back to the dashboard. So that is posts. You can also manage the post categories from here. So you can see under posts, it shows all posts, add new posts, tags. So you can control those things that show up, and you can see what they come up as. And so under uncategorized, we can change this, to say, budgies or something, whatever we want it to be. And we can change the slug too. The slug is the part of the URL, and it can only have certain characters, so you can't put spaces. If you have spaces, you would put dash. So let's say we want it to be, cute budgies, it would be like that. But when you normally add a new category, it's going to automatically do that for you. So let's just say this is a new category. And then you just click new. You can see it did it automatically, and it creates a slug and all the settings for you. And then you can also manage your posts too. So if you go back to posts, you can see that it's in categories. Let's say I want to change the category. All I'm going to do is click on this quick edit. And then I can select what category I want it to be. It can be in more than one, or I can leave it as one. I can disable or allow, comments from here. I can also disable and allow pings. I also have the ability to set the status of it. It's currently set to scheduled. I can also make it sticky. And there's other things I can change to single with sidebar. So the template is something specific to the theme that your website is using, and you can have quick controls to be able to change that. If we hit update, it will change the look of it. So now you can see we have a sidebar now that we didn't have before because I changed the template that it's using. If we go back, we can go to here to quick edit, and I want to show you something else. We set, oh wait, there it is. Make this post sticky, and then we update it. It's going to show the post. Where did it go? Okay, it's not on here. Over here, there should be. Okay, we have to create the page then. So what we'll do is we create a new page. This is a very similar editor. The default is for a new page. It's showing us that we can add some different patterns and things like that. We can just exit out. I just want to show you if we say blog and then we click publish. And then if we just click and view it, come on, there it goes. You can see that there's nothing there. I should be able to set it so that it will allow me. Okay, the default themes are a little messed up. I don't like the default themes. I never use them. I always install something else. So let's go ahead and do that now. So in order to be able to show you how to make like a blog page so that the list of blog posts will show up, we're going to have to change the theme. And so let's go ahead and do that. So we just click on theme, and we can go to add new theme. Now you have the option where you can upload a theme. So if you have a theme file that you can upload, so say you're using a page builder and you've like I recommend Beaver Builder. So say you're using Beaver Builder and then you pay for access to the pro version, then you would get a free theme that you can install on your website. So if we did that, we would select the file and then we would upload it and click on install now. For this example, we're just going to use a default free theme that's in the library. So we'll just grab the Astra one. There. We'll install Astra because it's right there and convenient, and then we click activate. Okay, now if we go to the main page of the website, we can see that it's by default showing the blog post. So we can see the first one we created and this one. And the posts are by default going to go in the order of the newest stuff first. So if we create a new post, so we can create a new post in different ways, so I'll show you. So if we are on this page, we can create a new post with the button like I did earlier. Or if you want to save time, you can also do it from the top. If you just click on this new button or click on new post, hovering over it shows the menu. Either way of clicking it will create a new blog post. And we can just say new blog post. And you can see that there's some different options that weren't there before. Like this little eye. Let me see. There should be an option for the theme or something. Each theme is going to be a little bit different. You can check the types of options and stuff are available. I just can't think of what it is at the moment. Because I don't normally use this one. I usually use the Beaver Builder theme. So it throws me off. So excuse me for getting a little confused from time to time with this, because it's not something I typically would use. But if you're trying to go with a free option, you can use a free theme, and you can set it up to become a website that you want to use. So, if you start adding in some content, we'll just type in some gibberish, blah, 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 you know, just so there's something there. We can click on publish. Okay, now, if we go view post, we can see that the look has changed because we changed the theme. If we type in blog, nothing is there. But if we go to the home page, there is something there. So you can see that we've got new blog post, that's the one I set. Because I didn't set an image, there's nothing there. And the same with these two. But you can see that the new blog post is before this one. And they're tiling. So in this theme, that's how they display the blog posts. If you click on the category, it's going to show the posts that belong to that category. And this is a new category, as you can see, only one post there. And so there's all sorts of different controls and links, so you can see all the posts by a certain author. You can see the date, and yeah, so these are just some basic blog post options. So this is what makes it a blog post, is that you're going to have usually a lot of them, and they'll need to be organized into categories and be able to be sorted, and they'll typically have some images that you might want to include in the content or whatever, and that's how they kind of like differ in terms of how they display compared to a regular page of a website. So let's just throw in some images too while we're at it. So now we can see that the image isn't displaying because the featured image isn't set to display in this theme. If we want an image to display, then we would have to add it specifically to the post. So let me just delete that. You know, test button. Here we go. So this is just an example button. And what you'd normally do is add a link, you know, so for example, I think we have sample page we can add. If we type in sample, it will show us a list. And so that will take us to a sample page, and I'll show you what that does in a minute. And you can add an image. So if we want to add that horse image, we just select it, and there it is. We click save. And now if we view it, now we can see the image. It's only just the theme is set not to display the image, whereas the default one does. It will show the featured image. That featured image is important because it's good for a preview image, like a preview thumbnail for the link. So say you took this link at the top and you shared it on Facebook, then it's going to try and generate a preview of the website using a thumbnail, and it may grab that featured image that is associated with the link. It depends on all these different settings, but that you have specifically to your website, but that's generally how it would work. Okay, so that's why that would be important. So if we click on this, we can go to the page. This is a sample page that WordPress creates automatically. And on this page, if we click edit, we can see that there's some content here. It looks just like the other editor. So if we press enter, we see the little plus thing, and we can add content, we can add videos, we can add different things to it. It's pretty powerful just by default. You can add a featured image to it too. And this is really ideally for the SEO purposes. So when people, well, not SEO, but for social media and stuff like that, when it shows a preview of the website, it will try and pull from those types of images that are associated with the page. And so this would become associated with the page and be potentially one of the images it shows, depending on the settings. Okay, so that's where you can set that. You can also insert the content in there too. So let's just throw in an image just to show you. Okay, and then we can also, we do have some controls for the image, by the way, when you do insert them. So you can center it, you can set it to line right. There's different options. You can also make it a link. You can add some text over it, you can crop it. So WordPress gives you a lot of different options with this. And so this is the default page editor, which looks just like the post editor. So you can save it, view it, and there you can see the featured image is showing that I had set, because this theme has decided to show featured images on pages. And you can see that cart image I put in there. Now, if we click on this option now that shows up, because we changed the theme, it says customize. We can click on this, and we can see a bunch of controls. Now, if we go back, and we click to go back to our WordPress admin, we can also get to those controls by going to Appearance and Customize. So you can see the options appear because we changed the theme. So this is important to know. So we can also see that it installed something called Astra over here, which has to do with the theme that's installed. So under Appearance, if we click on Themes, we can see this is the one that we installed here. These are the 3 defaults that it comes with. If we activate it back, see that Astra option went away. And now the only options under Appearance are Theme and Editor. Editor is not options to customize the look of it. It's just an options to edit the actual theme files itself. So if you click on this, oh, well, apparently that is it. The theme editor apparently for this is this way. However, if we go back and activate it, normally it's going to be theme file editor. That's what I was thinking it was. So see, theme file editor is totally different. This is where you see all the code for it. So when you have one of the default ones, you can see that there's limited, oops, I activated the wrong one, limited options, but you do have some. You can change navigation and some styles with the basic theme settings here. And you can just experiment with it and get familiar with it. Okay, and so that's kind of, you know, how this default theme editor works. And if you look at it, you can see there's the blog page, but again, it's not going to do anything. And so let me show you why. So back under themes, let's activate Astra. And now if we go to customize, we're going to see a number of options. And so if we want a static home page, we need to go under this homepage settings. And then we can select this option, so static home page. And under posts, we would set it to our blog page there. And so then under home page, we would set it to a home page. So we can create one since we don't have one. Usually type home or home page or something. And now this can be our home page that we can start building out. Now, if we click publish, this is going to save the changes. And then we can use some other options. You can see that this theme adds in these style settings, so we can change different things about it. Each theme is going to have different options, different settings, different customizations. But when you install a theme, you're usually going to have a customizer thing like this, and it will have the options listed here where you change like your header, and you can add your logo, and you can add in, you know, the menu that you want it to have. So you can set in a primary menu and create one. And so we can say main menu, or well, menu, main menu. This is just the name for it in the back end, so it doesn't actually appear. And then we would set that. Then we can add some things, so we could set our home page on there so it would show up. We could set blog, and we could set our sample page. Now if we click on publish, now it's saved this, and these are the menu links that automatically appear in that menu. If we go back, we can check the blog settings. So under single post, see, we can set it. So if we click on blog, and then we click on the single post, okay, so we can start previewing what we change in these settings. And so we can set it, oh, well, we can set related posts. And so you can see it adds a new section. We can also hide it. We can also hide the comments section. So the options will vary depending on whatever theme that you end up using for your website. When you choose a theme, do so carefully. Some themes may have limitations on what you can do with them, limits on what you can customize, and you want to make sure that when you do choose a theme, that you choose one that's well rated and that is well maintained. So that means you'll receive regular updates. If we click on publish, that will save the settings we did, and then we can exit out. So let me show you a bit more about themes. So if you go to add a theme, let's say we look at this one. It says details and preview. We can see the rating for it. We can also choose the little arrows. See, this is what this one looks like. And we can go through them until we find something that we want to try out. And then we can start customizing it, adding in content and those kinds of things, and putting together our pages and what we want on those pages, and trying to style them and design them in the way that we want, that matches our branding and desired look. So let's just say we want to install this one. And we activate it. We can look at the theme details right here, and you can see there's an option for enable auto updates. That's always good to do, so that way when they release a new version, it will auto update it. You can see that it's a version, 1.025. If we go into Astra, we can do the same thing. We can see that Astra's had more updates, and we can also click on this to see about the company that created it. Okay, it looks like I lost where I was. I closed the tab. Alright, well, we can still get back. There we go. And so we can do different things from the different themes that we have installed, and we can add more. It's best not to have too many installed. You can remove them if you just click on the theme details, and then you can click on this delete button, and that will remove it from the site. And you can do that until you remove the ones you don't need. It's usually best to keep a default one, such as the 2024, just as a backup in case something breaks on the website for some reason or something goes wrong. It can help prevent issues later on if there's a problem with the theme that you have, so that you can still access your website and do stuff with it. Okay, the next thing that you'll need to work with is plugins. So if you click on plugins, you're going to see that there are 2 default plugins. I always remove them. I just don't like them. That's just me. But yeah, so I typically remove those, and then I usually add in some default plugins that I normally put in. There is WordFence. That is like one of the first ones that I install. WordFence is a security plugin. You can see it says login, security, firewall, malware, scan. They have a free plan that you can sign up for. So normally the way you do this is you just click on install. Okay, this is how you install and activate, plugins. So after you install it, you can click on activate. Just like with the themes, you click on activate, and that makes it live, and so that it takes effect. Now, when you install WordFence, you get you request the WordFence license, and as you can see, they try to sell you something. You can go for the free one, and then you just click on this text link that says "I'm okay waiting," and then you put in your email. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to check this because I don't want to get email updates, because I sign up for them all the time. Then I click on this box to say I agree, and then I click register. And then it's going to process, and it's going to send you an email with the code that you need to put in to activate WordFence. For this example, I'm just going to click on this so I don't have to check the email, and then I'm going to copy the license code. Now, back into the website, in here, while I'm on this screen, I can click on this install an existing license, and then I'll just put in the email address that I used to get the license, and then I paste in what I copied. And then there's an option here. I tick no, you can tick yes if you want, and then you click on install license. Then it's going to spin around and it's going to do its thing. Okay, now it's installed. You're going to go to dashboard, and then it will give you like an introduction to how to use it, and in some of the basic functions. So you say, okay, yeah, it's good. Okay, we're ready to go. Now, just because you installed it though, it does not do everything that you need it to do. So first you need to go and enable auto updates. There, and then you need to click on this click here to configure. What this is going to do is it's going to make it so you have a firewall on the website. It's just going to help protect your website from attacks. So if you click on the click to configure, it's going to pop up a box, and then it's going to prompt you download htaccess. You don't need to know what it is, just download it. It's a special file. Okay, you're going to download that onto your computer. Oops, I already have one, so let's just add in something different there. And it downloads onto your computer, and then you can continue with the process. It just has a backup, so in case something goes wrong, that's why it makes you download it. You don't have to worry about changing the setting. It's on the automatic default thing that it detects for your web hosting platform. And then you're going to just click on continue, and then that installs WordFence onto your WordPress site. I always recommend to install WordFence. It is one of the most popular, I'm going to close this, one of the most popular security plugins that you can use on WordPress. There is another one, but I don't remember the name of it. But WordFence is just the one that I always use. Now, you're going to have a lot of different settings that you can set on here if you want to secure your website. I normally go into the easiest option for me is to go into all options. And don't show anymore. There you go. It's because of the theme that I used. And so under WordFence, you're going to have all these categories of different options. One of the first things I normally do is I turn off the, I tone down the alerts. So I set it to high for the severity, and then for the activity report, I disable that just because I get so many emails. But you can leave those things checked and, at the default. For basic firewall, you don't have to do anything. The advanced, you don't need to do anything. But brute force, you could do something I normally do is I usually will restrict it depending on, if the site seems to get attacked a lot, and set something more restrictive. And what this does is it will lock out people for a certain amount of time. So the amount of time the user is locked out, if they attempt to log in 5 times and they get the password wrong, then it will block their IP address for a period of 4 hours. I can change these values, so I can make it so they get locked out for a day. I can make it so that it counts the periods over like 12 hours. If your site is getting attacked a lot, it's always good to adjust these settings so that it's more restrictive and blocks them out for a longer period of time, and does so sooner. So having a lower value can prevent them from trying to attack your site. There's an option to lock out invalid usernames. You can do that if you want to. It just kind of depends on, if you have a user registration system where you want people to be able to log into the website and access their own account on your site, then I would recommend not checking that. But if you don't, and you want to add more security, you can definitely add that. Just make sure you don't forget your username. Alright, so moving on, you want to keep a lot of the default options checked, and then you can simply click the button in the top right to save changes. And this will, make it so that it takes effect. Now, WordFence will be running in the background and it'll do all kinds of things, and it's very helpful, but to not go into too much detail on that, you can usually just look at the dashboard and it will tell you if there's something wrong in the notifications. Okay, so that's how you install WordFence. So I always install it. I always recommend you install it. So when you're setting up a website, that's like one of the first things you should do, because new websites and existing websites will get attacked all the time, just because people are always trying to hack them and install malicious code and stuff on there. So we want to install another plugin now. I'm going to show you how to use the Beaver Builder. There is a free version of Beaver Builder. It's more limited. I use the pro version personally, but you can use the free version and build out pages with it. So if you type in Beaver Builder into the search, when you search for plugins, you can see that it pops up here. You can click on Install, and then you can click on, when it pops up, Activate. Okay, and now it's installed. So now you can start using it on pages and stuff. If you look at the Beaver Builder settings, though, if you want to use it on your blog posts, you can do that too, if you don't want to use the default post editor. And so those settings are all in here. Alright, so mostly what you'll end up doing is just using it on pages, so you can go to pages and go to all pages. So now let's look at our pages. So we created home and a blog page. The blog is already set up, so we don't have to do anything. This is what the blog page looks like. It automatically populates because we set that in the theme settings. If we go back, we can see our home page that we created when we were editing the menu. we can click on View, and we can see this is the default thing that it set up for that. Now we can change the look of it. If we go to Beaver Builder and just click on that, that will add the Beaver Builder page builder to that page and make it so that we can start editing it. If we go into edit like here, we can see that there's nothing on it. That default content is part of the theme. So when you use this particular theme, this is what it's doing. If I change the theme, the home page will change too. So let's change back to Astra, and I'll show you. Okay, so this is a blank home page. This is ideally easier to work with when using Beaver Builder and stuff. So if you click on Beaver Builder from the top, or you can click on it from the pages. So if you go back to pages and you click on it here, it'll open the same thing. So it's just going to open up the Beaver Builder page builder, and you can click on No, and then you're going to be presented, well, it would just give you a tour, but basically the way Beaver Builder works is it gives you building blocks to build your page. So similar to the default WordPress editor, how it has a little plus symbol and then you can drag and drop things, Beaver Builder has a similar thing, except it places it up at the top and next to the button here where you save it and publish it. You just click on this plus button and this will open up the menu for Beaver Builder. And so now you can add in all these different types of things from here. You can also search and excuse the cat. He is, oops, trying to knock things onto my desk. So, all right. Okay, so from here we can just click and drag. So let's say we want to add a heading. So we just click and drag it, and then we can type in something. And then we can click save, and now we have a heading on the page, but it's not very pretty, right? So we can style this. So this is inside of a block, and it's also inside of another block. This outer block is called a row, and you can change the size of the row. Just click on row settings or click on the little wrench. And then you get all kinds of different options here. One of the first options you might want to change is perhaps the width. So you can set it to full width. Now, if we drag this box away, we can see now this outer box goes to the edges of the page. If we scroll down in this little option box, we can see that there is a background option. So we have options for color, gradient, photo, video, or some sort of embedded code. The main things that you will probably use are going to be color, gradient, photo, and video. So if we choose photo, we can see that the photo source is automatically set to media library, and then we can click on this select photo. And now we can use one of the images that we use. So let's just grab this horse picture. Okay, now you can see that it's that big. We can change the size of our row if we scroll up. And now you can see there's an option for height. If we click on height, we can change it to full height. Give it a second. There we go. As you can see, it's going to do the full width, or I mean full height of the screen. If we set it to minimum, we can actually specify a value, and we can do the VH for height. Vertical height is what it stands for. And then you can set like a percentage. So, oops, not 500, 50. 50, you can see that it takes up half the space. So this is using a percentage value. And it's just going to take up the screen size for whatever device it's on. It's going to take up that much amount of height. And you also will see an option for this little monitor screen icon. If you click on this, there's different controls in Beaver Builder that make it easy for you to make the website responsive. Responsive just means you can control what it looks like on different devices and make it so that it's user-friendly and easier to read. So if someone's viewing it on a phone, it's going to look a bit different than if they look at a computer because the screen size is different. And so you can use these options and settings to control what it does. So say if you want it to do something bigger on a smaller device, you can set that value to say 100 and then set it to the VH, and now it will take up 100% of that screen width for that device. Click on it again, it'll go to the smaller size. Click it on again, now it's for a phone. So if we want on a phone, say we only want it to show, 40% or something for some reason, we can control that. And that's what a lot of the controls do in Beaver Builder, is that it's very easy to change it so that it will respond differently to the different screen sizes. Alright, so let's say we want to center this text. So how can we do that? Well, we can click on the block for this heading, and then we have different options here, so we can change the tag. H1 is big, and H6 is small. So it just goes from largest to smallest. So if we change it to the smallest, you can see now that's what it looks like by default. If we set it to the largest, that's how big it is. Now, if we go into style, we have more options. We also have the option in here to get it to link to a particular page. We also can tell it to open in a new window or new tab so that they stay on your website, but they can still explore whatever link you send them to. Under style, you can change the color. So you can change the color of the text. So let's, say we set it to white here, but now you can see that it's harder to read. So let's increase the size. So we can either enter in a value or we can just drag this. And you can see that that's the size of it. And you can see we have a little icon again for the little monitor. We click it again. You can see what it looks like on the different screen sizes. As you can see, this is too big for this device, so we can change the size. So we just click on it and then drag it to the size we want. We also have the option to align it. So it's currently left aligned by default. We can center align it. And we have some more style options. You can open and close the sections to view more options. So here we can, make it all caps. We can make it just capital. We can make it all lowercase. And we just make it normal. This is the default. We can also change the letter spacing. And, And if we want to set it back, we can just set it to 0 or just delete the value. And then it will go to the default. And then we can change the style to italics if we want. And then we can set it to be underlined or different things. So there's all kinds of different options that you can choose to specifically edit that one, whatever you have selected. If we want to add a shadow, they have shadow effects in here too. So you can click on the shadow and then you can choose the color of it and use the little drag and drop. It'll choose whatever color, and then you can change the saturation. So if you drag it all the way to the left, it goes black and white. If you keep it all the way to the right, you have all your full vibrant colors. So for a shadow, I typically would do something like this. Choose a gray or black color. And then I can change the opacity of it by dragging up and down. And then when I'm done, I can just click away from it. And then you can see the value is there. Now you're going to notice that there's no shadow there. So let's go in here and go down. You can see that our shadow color is gone. But we can change saturation. Oops. Click. There we go. And then change the, darkness. and then we can click below or click above to get away from it. And now we can start trying to create the actual shadow. So you can see that it's not showing there. That's because we don't have it set. So we can change the X and Y value. So this is the X value. We can change the Y value as well. That. We can change the blur. This makes it fuzzy. And we can change this. So now you can see the effects that you apply there. Beaver Builder is really convenient because you can save it. In their Pro version, they make it so you can save components and reuse them. In the free version, I don't see that option though. But it's still a useful tool. Now, you can exit out of the screen here because it's in the responsive mode. And now it's taken up the full width of the browser. And then you can add more content blocks. You just click on the plus. And then you can click and drag. You can also add in columns and stuff. So say you want to add in 3 columns or something like that. What you're going to do is you're going to go up and you're going to click on rows. And then you can click and drag in, 3 columns. And you can start adding blocks inside of those. So you can add a photo, you can add buttons, you can add content, whatever it is that you want. So let's just add an image, for example. And then you can click save. We also had created a text box but didn't actually type in anything, so we can click on it and we can type directly in there. And then we just save it, and you can see that now there's text in there. We can drag and drop it into another position. There it goes. And we can put it into a column. We also have the options for icons and using different grids. We can do call to action. We can add in special menus. It has number counters. There's other functions that it has, but it's only in the Pro version. So if you want those, you'll have to buy it. But it's generally pretty affordable compared to some of the other page builders, which will require a license to use on multiple sites. I pay a license for the Pro version and I can use it on unlimited sites, but I create a lot of websites, so it's worth it to me. For templates, it shows you some different things that you can use that they have by default that you can drag and drop in there. So say you want to add in contact information or something like that. Let's see. Let's try landing page since this is a home page. We can click on this and we can either replace what we have or we can actually append it. So if we click on append, it's going to add it below. So now we have this content section that was made using Beaver Builder. It needs content still and images and stuff that are appropriate, but it gives you a starting point and with some default styles that they put together for you. Once you're done setting up your page the way you want, you just simply click done and click publish, and that makes the changes live. And so if we click on blog, we can see our blog page. If we click on sample, we can see the example page that came with WordPress that we edited, and you can see that the home page has been changed here. Now, Beaver Builder has a lot of different functions with it, a lot of different controls and styles. You can just experiment with it and stuff, and you can play with it without actually hurting your stuff. So let me show you how to do that. One of the important things that you'll want to know how to do is how to recover something. So let's say, for example, if we make a change. So if we go into the page builder, and then let's add in some other photo. For example, let's take this horse picture and let's add in some more text. And let's add in a button. Okay, so now we have some content that we added in. And now if we save that change, okay, if we go back in, if we delete this image, let's say we want to get it back, we can use Control Z or Command Z if you're on Mac. It will act as an undo button and you can recover something. You can also go up to this menu on the top left and you can see that there's a number of options here. You can see that there's something called revisions. So if you go to revisions, you can see that there was a change that I had saved 2 minutes ago. If we click on that, now we're back to this version of it. We can, if we want to use that version, we can click on apply. We can also go to 30 minutes ago. This is what it looked like before. If we go to 2 minutes ago, we can do that. But if we want to go back to the version we were just working with, we would just hit cancel. Or we can click on apply and start working with what we had before. So you're able to recover from changes in case you delete something or something goes wrong. Now, from my experience, sometimes Beaver Builder gets a little glitchy, especially if I'm adding a lot of components. So say I add in a whole lot of text boxes, and I just keep doing that a lot, you know, and then I have another one and another one. After a while, it seems like it will lock up and freeze, especially since I tend to duplicate things. So say I want to create another version of this. This often will get locked up after a while when I do that a bunch of times. I may not be able to repeat the behavior, but the point is it can get a bit locked up, and in those cases, you know, sometimes it may not want to save. So sometimes I might click on this and then it won't save it, or sometimes like it'll just be stuck with that before it actually finishes. It's likely because I just do a lot of changes and a lot of work to it, and it's trying to save those revisions and everything. But you know, you can always refresh the page, so you can always click on the little refresh button or press F5 and it will reload the page, and sometimes that can help. So if you do use Beaver Builder, that's just something to keep in mind. Now, another neat thing about Beaver Builder that I like is, say I want to create a template of a page and use that on multiple pages. So what I would do is I would go up to this control, and then I would normally, you know, click Save Template. It's not available in the free version though, but I can duplicate the layout or preview the layout or do some of these other functions. But normally I would like to save the template, and then I can go up here to the building blocks, and I would go under templates, and then I would click here, and then it would show my saved templates, and then I could actually select that and then use that as a basis for building out the page faster. So that way it keeps all the same styles and the same look and everything that I did to one, it can do that for multiples. The other good thing about the Pro version is that you can actually save components and reuse them on multiple times. It's just not available in this free version. So if you do decide to use Beaver Builder, I would recommend the Pro version just because it's more useful, but you can do a lot with the free version, and it can help keep your costs low and still make it pretty easy to put together your own website. Okay, so that is like a quick introduction to Beaver Builder and kind of putting together a page. To do it properly, you know, professional page, what I would normally do, this is generally my process, is I would add in, you know, each page. So I would have an about page, a contact page, and you know, something for, you know, it depends on what the website is about, of course, but I would usually have like a services page and products page, or whatever, and then I would build out each page in Beaver Builder, and then I would add in the content and start styling it and customizing it so that it looks the way I want. And so it's just the same process of adding in the components, just drag and drop, and then you can, you know, is you know, about me, you know, and you can do different things with it. If you have the Pro version, you can use the theme also with it, because they have a Beaver Builder theme and it's very customizable, so we can change a lot of things with it. You can, you know, make full use of their components and stuff, and it's just easier to customize than some of the free themes that you may end up installing and trying to use on your site. But Beaver Builder is generally pretty compatible with most anything, and it's just one of many different page builders, but I think it's one of the more reasonably priced ones. At least if you're building multiple websites, it is a good value. So usually I would just follow that process, going one by one through each of the pages, and then each time you have a page, you're going to need to add it to the menu. So under Appearance, you would go under Menus, and as you can see, the About page is not on there. So to add it, you just go either under View All if it doesn't show up under Most Recent. You would just check the box and click Add to Menu, and this is going to add it to the menu. But for the changes to actually take effect, you actually have to click Save and tell it to save it, and now the menu's actually been updated. You can have multiple menus, and the locations of them will show on here. As you can see, that this particular theme has multiple menu options, so you can have an off canvas and a secondary, and all these different kinds of menu placements. And you can also click on here to see what menus are set for the different locations as part of the theme. This particular theme has these options, and so depending on the theme, the options are going to change. You can create a new menu over here. You just click it, and so say you wanted to add some menu to a page to make it easy to jump to different sections or something like that. You know, you can call it whatever it is that's applicable. Click on Create Menu. Then you're going to add your pages. As you can see, not all the pages are listed, so you can just click on View All. You can also add links to your blog posts. You can also put in custom links. So say you want to add in a quick link in your menu to Facebook or something, like your Facebook page or whatever. You can specify, you know, Facebook or something, and then you would have whatever the URL is to your page in there, and then you would simply click on Add to Menu, and that's how you add a custom link. You can add links to the blog categories in there, and so it just kind of depends on what you're trying to build in your website. So I'm just going to check everything here just for this example, and now you can see that it's there. I can drag and drop to change the order. I can also drag them underneath each other, and that means it's a sub-menu item. So these ones aligned to the left, those are your main menu items, and these are the sub-menu. So you can add multiples here to show you a bit more, so you can have multiple things here. Now, depending on the theme and the way it's set up, those things may or may not show. So if we just click on Save, and then we view the website, if we hover over those, you can see that they're not showing because this particular theme does not show them. It might be in the settings, but it's currently not set up that way. So it depends on what you're trying to do and what, you know, you want it to do, if it's going to work for your site or not. will just depend, on what you decide to go with and what you decide to use to build your site with. Now, that is kind of, how you can customize it when you are saving the menu, well, editing the menus and stuff. You can do that. The next thing I want to talk about is something else that's pretty important, is a coming soon page. There are different plugins for adding a coming soon page. So while you're working on your site, you may not want people to look at it. So you can add a coming soon plugin that will hide the website from public access. So if you say coming soon or under construction, you can install one of the free plugins that will make it so that people will see the coming soon page rather than seeing your website and being able to browse it before it's ready. So once it's installed, you just click activate, and then depending on the plugin and stuff, the options are going to vary, and what it looks like and what it does is all going to vary. So they're going to be pushing their pro version. You can customize the coming soon page and make it, look nifty options. That's what it was called. Well, I'm not going to go into how to use their plugin because I'm not totally sure, because I just did it by default, but it did show something there. So you can view demo, I guess. So this is what, their example is that you can set a launch time for when it's going to be ready and stuff with their particular plugin. But it does require some setup and stuff to do that properly, and to make sure that their email sign up works and stuff, because it shows an email sign up and stuff like that. But I have a simple coming soon plugin that I often use, and it's I can offer that for free. And but anyway, this is just a demonstration, and normally you would just set that and then you would have it set to coming soon rather than having the site live. Now, another thing you want to do with plugins is you want to enable the updates. So you can do that quickly by just checking the box, going to bulk actions, and then going enable auto updates. This will enable all your plugins to automatically update. So whenever there's a update, it should automatically apply. If you have a pro version of that plugin, you have to have a license to do that, or whatever. There may be some restriction. There's also some other controls. So say you have multiple updates at the same time, you can update that just by clicking on that, and then you click apply, and then it will automatically update those plugins. The same with deactivating and removing them. You can deactivate them, delete them. You can also activate them. So the deactivation and activation, what that does is turns off the plugin. It turns off that functionality and disables it so that it doesn't affect the site. And that can break things, and depends on the way you set up the site and stuff, if it's dependent on that. So for example, if we deactivate Beaver Builder, and then if we look at the home page, you can see that it deactivated it, and now it looks totally different. If we activate it again, now it's back on. We can go back to the home page, and you can see that there it's back. So that's a bit about how plugins, can be turned on and off. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is the settings. And from here, you can see that there's general site settings. There's an option for site icon in here. This may show or not. Some of the options can change depending on the theme that you use. You can see the WordPress URL. Leave that alone. You never want to change that. That will break your site unless you're changing the domain name. For the admin email, just make sure you keep that up to date so you can get in. Now, this membership option just means, you know, if you check it, then anybody can register for an account on your website. If you leave it unchecked, then they can't. This is a default thing. You can just leave that alone. You can set your site language if you need to. For the time zone, you want to set that so that it's in the correct time zone for where you are, so that the dates and times for like the blog posts and stuff will be more accurate. The date format, you want to you know, set it to what you like. You know, I'm usually perfectly content with the default. And then for the week starts on, I usually set it to Sunday, and then I click save. The other thing I normally do in the settings is I go into discussion and I turn off these options here. This disables comments by default because of, you know, spam. I don't like that. This can also be annoying too. And then we don't really need to notify any blogs, so we can just leave that unchecked. And then I scroll down and then I save. Now you can, of course, experiment with any of the other settings if you want, but these are just typically the things that I change. So on permalinks, this is the next thing that I always change, and I set it to post name. This is important for SEO purposes. It makes the URLs cleaner rather than showing the full date. This makes it so that it looks better in the URL for search engines. So you select that option, then you click save, and now that's set up. So when people go to your website and then they go to the blog, all your posts will now have the URL with the post title or whatever it is that you choose to set it. You can actually change it if you go to like edit post, and you can see on the right hand side there's a link. If you click on that, you can actually set it to something else. You know, so if you end up changing like the title, you'll notice that the link stays the same. So you can update that. As long as other things are not pointing to that specific URL, it should be okay to change it. You just hit click away from it, and now it's set. So I changed the URL for this post to match the title because I had changed the title that was by default. There shows an option here, show featured image in the post list only, but hide it in single post view. This is something that is likely specific to the theme. So some of the options can change for, you know, throughout the WordPress admin depending on what theme you install. And some may be better than others, some may require additional plugins. Oh, a quick tip on plugins. Having a lot of plugins can slow down your website, so it's best not to install too many unless they're necessary. For example, this one seems to use Astra, but that's built into the theme itself. And so it's adding that. But typically, whatever plugins you add will often add menu options in the sidebar. So you can see that WordFence was added. We can also add a contact form. That's another thing I want to show you. So under plugins, you can go to add new. So if you want to add a contact form, I forgot this. I normally use Fluent Forms. I use the Pro version because they had a really good deal for lifetime, you know, use. And but their Fluent Form plugin is really good. So I click on install. This is the free version of it that you can use. It has a contact form and a subscription form demo that you can modify by default. So you can go into Fluent Forms here, and then you can see that you have forms, you have entries and different settings like that. You can click on edit, and then you can, you know, modify the form. You can add in, you know, other fields. You can add in, you know, different functions and stuff. There's a lot of grayed out options because they want you to buy a license to get, you know, more options. But In general, you can do a lot with just the free version. So you can click on it, and then you can set fields to required, and you can set default options. So if we click on advanced, you can see some more things. You can see a default, and you can just set it to whatever. You also have the option to remove fields. So say you don't want a subject field, you can remove it. Okay, and then you can also change the submit button. And let's say we want to change it to change the text to say send message. We can type in what we want it to send. We can change different styles with it, and different alignment, and we can also force them to enter in their name. So we can click on the little expand and, contract button, and it shows more options. So if we set that, you can see that it's applied to the first name. If we want to require the last name too, we can do that. So now both the names are required, all the fields are. Now if you want to add something to prevent spam, I highly recommend using one of these CAPTCHA tools, but it looks like it's only available in the Pro version. But it might be that I did not set that up. So if something is not set up, it's not going to give you the option. We can save this form and we can look and see. So if you do want to add in something like reCAPTCHA, which is Google's CAPTCHA tool, or if you want to add in HCAPTCHA, both are free, and you can use them on your website, and it can prevent people from sending you spam. It just kind of helps, at least it stops the automated spam. It's not going to prevent the people that go to your website to send you spam, but it will at least stop the robots. You can go under global, and then under security, then you can see the options. So they do include the capability, so that's good. Then you would just get the values. So it tells you kind of how to do it. I'm not going to show you how to do that in this video, but there's instructions for how to do it, and then there's an invisible one. There's the visible, which means that if it's visible, then they will be prompted to select something, like select motorcycles or objects or stairs or crosswalks or whatever. And the invisible version tries to guess based on the user behavior and different properties and features of that user or whatever that is browsing your site. So you'll look at them and try and assess, are you a robot based on their behavior, rather than making them select options. HCAPTCHA is also free. It works much like reCAPTCHA, the version where you have to select the objects and stuff like that. There's also Turnstile, which is through Cloudflare. It gives you links to figure out how to do all of that right from here. So when you put in those values, you save it, and then you go to the form that you want to put it on. In this case, we click Edit, and then under Advanced, we would click and drag it onto the form. It's disabled because I don't have that set up. Anyway, so when you have this set up, you can go into your settings. This is where you can control a bunch of things. You can change the message that displays afterwards. You can say, I don't know. And then you can center it, you can style it some. And then when you're done making changes, always click Save. You can set your email notifications. So here there's no notifications set. If you click Add Notification, then you can, add in everything. Here, like where you want it to go to. You can have it send a confirmation email to them. There's all kinds of different things. So say you want to get notifications about it, then you would type in that, and then you would what you want it to tell you about it. So, and you can also insert fields. So you can use the name. So that way, when it sends you a notification that a message was received, it will tell you who it's from or what it's about or something like that. In their email body, you'll need to add in a short code, which you can do with all the fields. Let's see, all data. That will produce all the fields that are in the form, and that will output all of that in the email that it sends you. You can also add some things. So say you want to tell yourself, or if you're sending an email to a customer or something like that, you can do a receipt or something, or a confirmation or something, or thanks for your message. Here is a copy for your records or something. And then you could have that, and then you can set this to their email field if you want it to be something that is sent to them. So this is a really neat form builder tool. It gives you a lot of options, and you can set it to notify yourself, or you can set it to notify other recipients and stuff. And then when you're done making changes, you just simply save it, and you can actually test the form. So if you go to this preview and design, now you can actually see the form. Then you can type in something, we're just going to put in that, and then you just click send. Okay, now you can see it's the message that I had typed in there, and the form disappears. We can put this form on the website really easily. If we go into, say, the home page, let's just add it somewhere here. So we go into Beaver Builder, and we can go to this plus sign and go to the search. If we type in Fluent Forms, they have a Fluent Form widget, and then you can set it, and there, now you have a contact form that you created displayed on the page. And you can just click done, publish, give it a second. There, now it's styled just like it was in here. Now there's all kinds of settings and stuff in all of these things, but it would take hours to explain all of that. So but this kind of shows you the basics of how these things work. And that will conclude this video, and then in the next one I'll talk specifically about how you can use AI to build a WordPress website so that you don't have to build out each of these pages yourself. So for example, so you don't have to build out your about page and your home page and services page and stuff like that. You can use AI to do that, and I'll show you the basics of how you can do that in another video. And so this concludes this video.